My name is Jeff Graham. I'm with Georgia Equality. And first of all, Mr. Chairman, I certainly want to thank you and the members of the subcommittee for having this hearing today and certainly understanding and working with us. As you can see, this is an issue that's very sensitive to a lot of us through many, many different communities, especially those of us from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. We are still concerned about House Bill 1023. We certainly will look at the amendments, make sure the changes. We certainly will be open to that. But I do want to go forward with some of my comments today because I do hope that the committee will take this into consideration as you can continue to deliberate and think about this bill. We are concerned that any of these religious freedom bills will have a chilling effect on Georgia's 300,000 gay and transgender citizens. There are currently no federal or state laws that provide us protection against discrimination in the workplace, in housing, or in accessing public accommodations. However, there are over 50 municipalities, cities, and counties here in Georgia that have enacted some form of local ordinance that protects at least some members of our community against some of these many forms of discrimination. And we as a community need these protections. In the only broad survey done of the LGBT community here in Georgia, 45% of respondents said that they had experienced some form of workplace discrimination or harassment in the previous year. And 48% had experienced discrimination as they were trying to access public accommodations through a public establishment. Should this bill pass, those municipal protections could be rendered meaningless if the person denying the service, harassing the coworker, or firing the employee claimed that they did so out of religious beliefs. Please understand that as someone with a background in theology and religious studies myself, I do value religious freedom and applaud the efforts to ensure that diverse views are always heard and respected. However, as a gay man, I can also assure you that the vast majority of derogatory comments that I have heard and the primary arguments that have been used to prevent my community from achieving legal equality are rooted in what people profess to be their own religious beliefs or their personal interpretation of a few selected biblical passages. This is not to say that all people with strong faith and religious beliefs are homophobic or transphobic. In fact, in a statewide survey of Georgia's community, 2/3 of the respondents said that they held specific religious beliefs of their own. Furthermore, the number of religious denominations and faith traditions that have openly embraced gay and transgender people have taken public stands in support of LGBT issues has dramatically increased over the past 30 years. However, there are still many denominations that continue to struggle with this issue and many that openly condemn sexual and gender minorities. If this bill passes, how will employers, governments, and agencies that have been entrusted to protect our rights know if someone committing an act of bias is doing so out of bigotry or out of a sense of religious conviction? What if they mistakenly discriminate against people who are not gay or transgender, but are simply presumed to be? In a state that leads the nation in new HIV infections, how can we be assured that medical professionals are sharing science-based prevention information with those at risk if the science behind those interventions goes against someone's belief? If we open the door in Georgia to defining corporations as people, how can anyone be assured that the marketplace is operating fairly when some companies may announce that they do not intend to follow some laws or statute because it runs counter to the corporate's religious beliefs? Yes, protecting religious liberties is important, but so is protecting the rights of minorities who have a proven history of discrimination and bias directed against them. That's why we must find a balance, and in its previous version, House Bill 1023 did not accomplish that. We will be reviewing the amendments to see if the amended version does accomplish those goals. Thank you very much.
Mr. Graham, to the points that were raised earlier, there was a reference to the federal reference. What is your position on that if this bill looks like that?
Well, I think that would ease some of our fears. I do have some great concerns without looking at it a little bit further and really consulting with some of the attorneys with Lambda Legal Education and Defense Fund on that. There are no federal laws that currently offer relief from discrimination. There are some policies that have been put in place by various administrations over the years, but there are no federal statutes or laws that back that up. And so we would want to make sure that the federal RFRA is very open to that, and if the state RFRA truly does mirror that, we also want to make sure that we would not be passing legislation that would prohibit the advancements of policies that we know the state of Georgia, the public of the state of Georgia actually does stand behind.